Winter darkness falls early in Boston. Elizabeth Montgomery glanced at the streetlights outside her window while holding her cell phone to her ear. Through the large glass windows of her office, she could see the glittering night view of Manhattan. "Liz, your performance this quarter has been outstanding. The board is absolutely thrilled," said her boss Victoria. Liz smiled at the voice. She was known as a sharp analyst serving as vice president at a major Wall Street investment bank. "Thank you. It's really the result of the entire team's efforts." As she ended the call, Liz let her shoulders relax. Success, recognition, promotion, her life had been colored by these words. But the fatigue and emptiness behind it all was something she showed to no one. From childhood, Liz's life had been filled with strict rules and high expectations. Her father Jack, a former military man, imposed military-style discipline on his daughter, frequently saying, "Raise the Montgomery name." Rising at 5 in the morning, perfect grades, success in extracurricular activities, these were simply expected. "Elizabeth, if you're not down these stairs in 5 minutes, you'll go without breakfast." A childhood morning scene suddenly resurfaced in Liz's memory. 10-year-old Liz hurriedly put on her uniform, brushed her hair, and rushed down the stairs. Her father's wristwatch ticked mercilessly as her mother Diana silently prepared breakfast. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That was close. Her father, with a stern expression, placed a minimal breakfast on her plate. Then, when her sister Kate came down the stairs in pajamas, her father's expression completely changed. "Good morning, my angel. Did you sleep well?" Her father lifted Kate up and kissed her cheek. Her mother also smiled as she made Kate's favorite pancakes. Liz quietly continued eating her breakfast. She neither questioned nor complained. She had been taught that this was her duty as the eldest daughter of the Montgomery family. In contrast, Kate was treated as a sensitive and special child and exempted from all responsibilities. While Liz washed dishes or mowed the lawn, Kate enjoyed freedom watching television or playing with friends. While Liz prepared for the national math competition in high school, Kate was getting ready for a shopping trip to the mall with friends. Why am I the only one raised so strictly? One night at 15, Liz summoned the courage to ask her parents. Diana looked at her husband with concern. "Because you have talent," Jack answered. "Kate is a different type of child. It's better not to put pressure on her." Liz didn't pursue it further. Instead, she continued to work hard to please her parents. She graduated as valedictorian of her high school class and won a full scholarship to Columbia University in the Ivy League. She earned an MBA in graduate school and landed a job at a prestigious financial institution on Wall Street. And now, Liz stood at the pinnacle of her success. However, the amount she sent home to her family each month had been increasing year by year. Her father's new car, her mother's luxury spa membership, Kate's business startup funds, contact from her family had mostly become requests for financial assistance. Again. Liz sighed as she read a text message from Kate. "Sis, I'm in serious trouble. I can't pay my rent. Can you lend me $2,000? I'll definitely pay you back next month. Love you." Liz read the message again. This was the 5th emergency request this year. And Kate had never kept her promises. Liz's fingers automatically opened her banking app and began the transfer process. That was her duty. Supporting her family was her role. That's what she had been led to believe. But lately, a nagging feeling had been growing in the depths of her heart. Was this relationship really right? Wasn't family supposed to support each other? Liz gazed at the night view outside her window. She was planning to take a week's vacation starting tomorrow and visit her family home for the first time in a while. Her father's email had said, "Looking forward to your return." Her mother's text message had read, "We have something important to discuss." Liz took a deep breath and put her cell phone in her bag. Liz's apartment along Central Park in New York was a testament to her success. Within its minimalist decor hung a few carefully selected works of art. The windows offered a view of the lush park, with the morning sun announcing the start of each new day. After finishing her morning routine, Liz stepped onto her balcony with a coffee in hand. The early morning park was wrapped in quietness, with joggers visible here and there. She took out her smartphone to check the news. Then, knowing what was inevitable, she opened her family's group chat. "Liz, we need $5,000 for your father's new set of golf clubs. Can you send it today?" Message from her mother. "Sis, I have a new business idea. An online organic cosmetics shop. I need $15,000 as startup capital. This one is definitely going to be a hit." Message from Kate. Liz sighed. Her father, as a retired military man, should have been receiving an adequate pension. Her mother worked part-time, but that was for socializing, not because it was truly necessary. Kate had never held a steady job. Liz replied bluntly, "The golf clubs weren't included in this month's budget. I've already sent money for the house renovations this month." "Kate, what happened to your last business?" "The aromatherapy shop." The phone rang immediately. It was her mother, Diana. "Liz, this isn't like you. Do you hate helping your family that much? Your father didn't raise you this way." Liz closed her eyes and suppressed her emotions. "Mom, this isn't about helping, it's about dependency. I've always been happy to provide what's needed, but everything is always urgent and essential. There's no planning." On the other end of the phone, Diana's voice grew cold. "You're successful because we sacrificed everything for you. We didn't do the same for Kate. So it's your duty to give back." Liz was speechless. After ending the call, she stood on the balcony for a long time. Was this what family meant? That afternoon, Liz visited a psychological counselor's office in Midtown Manhattan. Dr. Sherman welcomed her warmly. "How are you today, Elizabeth?" Liz sank deep into the chair and began to slowly unravel her emotional burden. "I'm thinking about my relationship with my family. I've always tried to meet my parents' expectations. Good daughter, good student, good sister, and now I feel like a good ATM. What do you expect from your family, and what do they give you?" Dr. Sherman's question pierced deep into Liz's heart. Liz thought silently. "I want to be acknowledged. I want my efforts to be recognized. I want to be loved. But sometimes I wonder if they really love me." The session continued, and Liz expressed emotions she had never voiced before. Anger, sadness, and above all, a deep sense of loneliness. Since childhood, she had lived to prove her worth. "Before our next session, think about boundaries," Dr. Sherman suggested. Setting healthy boundaries is also a form of self-respect. That weekend, the company arranged a party to celebrate Liz's promotion to vice president. It was to be a small gathering at a high-end New York restaurant, with colleagues and superiors in attendance. Liz hadn't told her family about this. She knew that her career success would only be treated as a further source of funding for the family. However, just 30 minutes after the party started, there was a commotion at the entrance. "We are her parents. You can't keep us out." Liz looked up in shock. Her father Jack, mother Diana, and sister Kate were arguing with the receptionist. Liz rushed over. "Dad, Mom, Kate, why are you here? What's wrong with family coming to your important promotion party?" Diana raised her voice loud enough for those around to hear. "You forgot to send us invitations." Liz was perplexed and at the same time embarrassed. "I didn't send invitations. This is a small company gathering, not for families." Jack's expression darkened. "You don't want to share your success with your family? Are you ashamed of us?" Liz was at a loss for words. At that moment, the restaurant manager approached. "Ms. Montgomery, it's not a problem. We'll prepare a table for your family." Liz nodded and guided her family to a table. But the evening only went downhill from there. Jack began boasting to Liz's colleagues, "I'm the one who made Liz into the elite she is." Diana and Kate took full advantage of the open bar, ordering expensive wines continuously. And then the worst moment arrived. A waiter came to Liz and quietly said, "Ma'am, there seems to be a problem with the credit card. Your family has placed additional orders, but the card was declined." Liz was confused. "Which card? I haven't presented any yet." "It's your card, sis," came Kate's voice from behind. "I just borrowed it from your wallet." "No big deal, right?" The blood drained from Liz's face. She felt as if all eyes in the restaurant were on her. Feeling a mixture of embarrassment and anger, she took out another card and handed it to the waiter. As the party drew to a close, Liz quietly directed her family back to their seats. "This is my workplace. My professional environment. I can't handle any more embarrassment." Jack's face turned red. "Embarrassment? We're an embarrassment to you. You're successful because of us," Diana added. "So cold to your family," Kate complained. Liz took a deep breath. And something inside her broke. "No, I succeeded through my own efforts. My parents set expectations, but I did all the actual work. Studying, taking exams, interviewing, I did it all myself. And now that success is being used to treat me like the family ATM." Her family was speechless. Liz stood up, politely said goodbye to her colleagues, and then looked at Jack, Diana, and Kate. "I've booked a hotel for tonight. Let's talk thoroughly tomorrow morning." That night, returning to her Manhattan apartment, Liz stood on the balcony and took a deep breath. She felt it was time to reassess her relationship with her family. 3 months had passed since the promotion party. Liz had immersed herself in work to avoid thinking about her family. After that night, she had decided to distance herself somewhat from her relationship with her family. She reduced the monthly transfer amount and instead began setting clear purposes and budgets. Naturally, this provoked resistance from her family. "Liz, your attitude has changed. Did success make you look down on us?" A complaint message from her mother. "If you don't have money, just say so. No need to force yourself to send it," a cold email from her father. And the never-ending emergencies from Kate. As she continued therapy, Liz was gradually beginning to understand that her worth was not just in her work success or financial support for her family. She found new hobbies and began attending art classes on weekends. The connections she made there were genuine interactions, not based on blood ties. One day, Liz decided to visit her family home for the first time in a while. The quiet suburban home outside Boston was where she had spent her childhood. There was a faint hope that she might be able to relax away from the stress of the financial industry. On the day of her visit, Liz rented a car and drove from Boston to the suburb where the Montgomerys lived. The New England landscape, with autumn leaves just beginning to turn, was breathtakingly beautiful. However, her heart was a turbulent mix of emotions. Arriving a bit earlier than the scheduled time, Liz pulled over to check her emails. There were no urgent work matters, and she felt relieved. Then, to prepare herself mentally, she took another deep breath. "Stay calm, don't get emotional," Liz reminded herself as she started the car again. The Montgomery house was an elegant 2-story colonial-style home. New curtains hung in the window of Kate's room, whose tuition Liz continued to pay. The garden, her father's hobby, had been maintained by a professional landscaper. These expenses, too, were probably being covered by her, she thought. Liz took a deep breath and headed for the entrance. Dinner time was still a little ways off. She had a key, but felt something strange and stopped in front of the door. She could hear her family's voices from inside. Liz said she was coming today, right? Her mother Diana's voice. Perfect timing, we need a down payment for that Florida vacation home. Liz felt her chest tighten. Vacation home. She had never heard anything about this. All that effort has paid off. Now she's a proper ATM, followed her father Jack's low laughter. Liz froze. She's our retirement insurance, Jack continued. That's why we didn't expect anything from Kate. With Liz, we have enough. Seriously, it's such a help, Kate's light voice added. I can just be a NET, haha. Liz let go of the doorknob. She felt as if all strength was draining from her body. This was the moment her previous doubts transformed instantly into certainty. She was nothing but an ATM, her parents' retirement plan, her sister's life guarantee. To them, her value as a person was merely as a machine that produced wealth. In her mind, fragmentary memories connected one after another. Her father's strictness was a calculated effort to drive her toward success. Her mother had instilled in her the refinements of a well-bred young lady for her future advancement. And Kate's special treatment wasn't because she had a different role in their plan, but simply because Liz functioning as the ATM was sufficient. Something inside her broke. And simultaneously, something was liberated. Liz took a deep breath and quietly moved away from the door. Her family hadn't noticed her presence. She silently picked up the small carry-on bag she had placed at the entrance and returned to her car without making a sound. In the car, she took out her cell phone. After thinking for a while, she sent a simple message. Urgent work came up. Can't make it this time. Will contact you later. Before starting the engine, she gazed once more at her childhood home. Childhood memories, adolescent dreams, and the complex emotions of adulthood, all intersecting in that place. But now, the home she saw was merely a tool used to exploit her. Starting the engine, Liz slowly began to drive away. As she distanced herself from the house, her heart felt strangely lighter. Her phone began to ring. It was her family. But she didn't answer. 20 minutes later, Liz's phone rang again. This time it was from Kate. With hesitation, she pressed the answer button. Sis. What happened? Really work? Or? Kate's voice had an unusual anxiety mixed in. Kate, I was in front of the house, Liz said quietly. I overheard your conversation. Silence spread on the other end of the phone. What did? Kate's voice trembled. Proper ATM, our retirement insurance, can just be a NET. I heard it all. Silence again. Sis, that was just a joke. Enough, Kate, Liz said, her voice shaking yet maintaining composure. I've always worked hard for the family. But I thought the family would do something for me too. At least, love me. We do love you. Kate said desperately. No, what you love is not me. It's my money. Sis, please. Let's talk. Liz took a deep breath. Not now. I need time. She ended the call and directed her car toward the highway. She hadn't decided where to go yet. She just wanted to get away from where she was. 30 minutes later, she pulled into a highway service area. Sinking deep into her seat, she closed her eyes. The phone kept ringing, but she ignored everything. In the silence, Liz began to think. Her life had always been shaped by the expectations of others. Her parents' expectations, the company's expectations, and the expectations she had imposed on herself. But now, for the first time, she asked herself. What do I want to do? What kind of life do I want? She didn't know the answer yet. But one thing was certain, she would never be used again. She would never again measure her worth by the expectations or demands of others. Liz opened her eyes and took her cell phone. First, she boldly contacted Dr. Sherman. I apologize for the suddenness, but could I schedule an additional session? Next, she checked her work email. She sent an email to her boss to extend her vacation. And finally, she blocked her entire family. At dusk, instead of returning to New York, Liz headed for Cape Cod along the coast. It was a place with a few happy memories from childhood with her family. But this time, it was a journey for her alone. The day after Liz left, the breakfast table at the Montgomery house was wrapped in an unusual silence. Jack read the newspaper, Diana sipped her coffee, and Kate gazed at her smartphone. No one tried to mention what had happened yesterday. Any contact from Liz yet? Jack finally broke the silence. Kate didn't look up as she answered, "No. I sent messages, but they haven't been read. She's just busy with work. I'm sure she'll contact us soon," Diana said, as if convincing herself. There was a hint of anxiety in her voice. However, there was no contact from Liz that day, the next day, or the day after. About a week later, Jack sent an angry email to Liz. "Daughter, why aren't you in touch? Have you forgotten your duty to your family? We raised you properly. At the very least, you should keep in contact as a matter of basic courtesy." There was no reply. Kate sent messages to Liz on various social media platforms, but all were ignored. She tried to find Liz's colleagues to contact her, but no one would give her detailed information. About 2 weeks later, the credit card bills arrived. Diana frowned with concern. "Jack, Liz's transfer hasn't come yet. How will we pay this month's bills?" Jack wore a confused expression. "She will surely send it. She's a responsible child." But the transfer never came. A month later, when Jack called the investment bank where Liz worked, he only learned that Elizabeth Montgomery has been transferred to another office. When he asked where she had transferred to, he was told, "We cannot disclose that information." The first financial blow hit the family when the monthly transfers from Liz stopped completely. Jack's golf club annual fees, Diana's luxury spa membership, Kate's rent subsidy, and the additional mortgage payments, all of these had been dependent on Liz's income. How did it come to this? At dinner, Diana said with a face on the verge of tears, "She abandoned us." Jack, with an expression full of anger, said, "She's ungrateful. After all we've given her." Kate silently stared at her smartphone. She had been spending more time shut in her room. The family's financial situation deteriorated rapidly. They began dipping into their savings, but that too had limits. Jack and Diana's spending habits had become long-standing, and it was difficult to suddenly lower their standard of living. 2 months later, Jack, in his anger, sent a furious email to Liz. "You've tarnished the family name. This behavior is unbecoming of a Montgomery daughter. Take responsibility immediately." There was no reply. Diana, who had been active in social circles, began telling her friends that Liz abandoned the family. However, the truth began to spread little by little. Liz's Aunt Carol questioned Diana at a lunch gathering. "Why must Liz alone financially support all of you? Doesn't Kate work? Don't you have retirement funds?" Diana was at a loss for words. The gazes of the women around were directed at her. From then on, the Montgomery family's reputation in the community began to rapidly crumble. Former friends began to distance themselves, and they received cold glances from church groups. "Everyone is avoiding us," Diana was indignant. "Our reputation is ruined because of Liz." Around that time, the family's health issues also began to surface. Jack's high blood pressure worsened, and Diana began showing symptoms of anxiety disorder. As medical expenses increased, they had no choice but to further deplete their savings. 6 months later, the family's situation had completely changed. Unable to maintain their large house in the upscale neighborhood, they were forced to move to a smaller home. Kate had to seriously look for work for the first time and started a part-time job at a local fast food restaurant. Making me do this kind of work, it's all Liz's fault. Kate exploded with dissatisfaction. On her first payday, she came home crying. This is humiliating. But surprisingly, Diana was calm. She sat at the kitchen table and took her daughter's hand. No, this is the result we created ourselves. We tried to exploit Liz and take her success for granted. Maybe we were wrong. Kate looked surprised at her mother's words. That evening, Jack complained of chest pain and was taken to the hospital by ambulance. It was a mild heart attack. Seeing him lying weakly in the hospital bed, usually so strong, was a shock to the family. There will be treatment costs not covered by insurance, the doctor informed them. When alone in the hospital room, Jack quietly asked a nurse who had come by, "Do you think I was a good father?" The nurse wore a confused expression and answered, "That's something you should ask your family. My daughter ran away from me. I may have treated her like a machine." After the heart attack, the family began to fragment. Kate exploded with anger toward her parents. She had begun to recognize the years of unfair treatment. Why didn't you educate me to be self-reliant like Liz? Keeping me as just a burden, and relying completely on Liz. Kate also left home, deciding to stay at a friend's apartment. The parents were completely alone. A year later, the situation of the Montgomery family had transformed. The Florida vacation home dream had been completely abandoned, and Jack, after recovery, began working as a part-time security guard at a local home improvement store. Diana also started working as a cashier at a neighborhood supermarket. "This isn't how it was supposed to be," Diana sometimes murmured. However, a new sensation was also budding within her. When buying groceries with money she had earned by her own efforts for the first time, she felt a small pride. Jack was the same. He began to understand, for the first time, the meaning of earning a living with his own hands. "We lost Liz," Diana said to Jack one night. "But it's our fault. I think we should contact her to apologize." Jack was silent for a long time. And finally, he nodded. "Yes. Let's tell her the truth. That we were wrong." 3 years had passed since Liz left home. Having left New York and found a new life in San Francisco, Liz had been promoted to partner at another investment firm. Her life had changed dramatically. Continuing therapy once a week, she had come to deeply understand the establishment of healthy boundaries and self-worth. In her time outside of work, she participated in local art classes, learning painting. The interactions with people she met there brought her new joy. "Elizabeth, your work is very emotional," said Sophia, the class instructor. "It seems like you're releasing emotions that are inside your heart." Liz smiled. "Maybe things I've been suppressing for a long time are finally coming out." Her apartment was compact but warm, decorated with furniture and artwork she had chosen herself. She could see the Golden Gate Bridge from her window, and gazing at that view every morning was her small happiness. One autumn afternoon, checking her mailbox, she found an unfamiliar envelope. Postmarked from Boston. Seeing the sender's name, Liz gasped. It was from Jack Montgomery. Holding the envelope, Liz stepped onto her balcony. She hesitated whether to open it. For the past 3 years, she had completely cut off contact with her family. New phone number, new address, new life, all of it was to protect herself from the past. "What should I do?" she asked herself. Taking a deep breath, Liz opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. Her father's handwriting was shakier than before. "Dear Liz. This is a letter of apology. We used you for our own benefit. Rather than praising your talent and effort, we took them for granted and tried to make your success our own. Now, we are learning the meaning of living by our own hands. We have lost material wealth, but we have found something more precious, humility and a heart of gratitude. We are not asking for your love or money. We just want to acknowledge our mistakes and hope that someday you might find it in your heart to forgive us. With love. Dad. Liz finished reading the letter and quietly wiped away her tears. A wave of emotions hit her: anger, sadness, and a strange sense of relief. For weeks, Liz continued to wonder whether to write back. At night, she deeply pondered what makes a family. She had realized that it's not just blood ties that define family, but mutual respect, support, and above all, true affection. One morning, Liz made up her mind. She wrote a brief reply. "Thank you for your letter. I need time to think too. But knowing that you're trying to change gives me a little hope. Liz." Around the same time, Kate was studying again at a Boston community college. She was beginning to believe in her own abilities for the first time while interning at a small local design company. One day, she mustered the courage to send a message to Liz's social media account. "Sis, I don't know where you are, but I want to tell you something. I envied you and used you. But now, I'm learning the importance of standing on my own feet. I hope we can meet someday." On Thanksgiving Day in San Francisco, Liz was celebrating the holiday with her chosen family, friends she had become close with from her art class. Surrounded by warm food and laughter, she felt happy. Her phone rang, displaying an unknown number. Normally she would ignore it, but feeling something intuitive, Liz answered. "Liz? It's me, Kate." After a moment of silence, Liz answered, "How are you?" "Good, hanging in there. It was hard to find your contact information." After a brief conversation, Kate said, "Next year, if you'd like, could we spend some time together?" Liz gazed at the view outside her window, thinking for a moment. Then she quietly answered, "That might be nice."